Hello, welcome to Chapter 4, video number 1. Today we are branching off. This entire first part of the course has been dedicated towards investigating one variable statistics. And in this chapter, we're going to be talking about two variable statistics. We've been talking about histograms and dot plots and for our data displays for one variable statistics. Well, we're going to learn about a new data display for two variable statistics. And then we've been talking about mean, median, mode, standard deviation, IQR. Those are one variable statistics. And then we're going to talk about, okay, well, what are we going to do with two variable statistics? What do those look like? So I want to consider something. Let's say that I am investigating two separate variables. I am investigating number of NBA games played and number of NBA points scored. So first off, here's what we can calculate. If I'm just looking at the number of games played, well, I could calculate the mean and standard deviation of that. I could calculate the median and IQR of that. And then also for number of NBA games played, most likely I would probably make a nice histogram or a dot plot with those. All right, so that is what I can do with that variable. If I am only looking at NBA games played, number of NBA games played, so how many games did Michael Jordan play? How many games did Kobe Bryant play? I could calculate all of those for all of the NBA players. And same thing, down here, if I'm just looking at NBA points scored, well, I could calculate the exact same stuff. Mean, standard deviation, median IQR, and then I could make a histogram or a dot plot. Now, let's say I would like to investigate how are those two related. Obviously, as the number of games go up, the number of points scored should also go up. But do we have anybody that's especially good at these two things? Is there a relationship between these two values? How strong of a relationship is this? Do we have anybody that didn't play a lot of games but scored a lot of points? So what we want to do is we want to figure out how are NBA games played related to the number of NBA points scored. All right, and I have a nice scatter plot to demonstrate this. All right, so this is an example of how to display two variable data. We are not going to be using histograms or dot plots. So that is for one variable statistics. With one variable statistics, that's where we rely on histograms, dot plots. If it is categorical, we could talk about a frequency table or a bar chart. However, if we are talking about two variable statistics, we are going to be talking about scatter plots. Now, please, please, please notice that with a scatter plot, we are not connecting the dots. These are not connected. Each of these points represents one player. Each point represents one player. And as we expected, as the number of games go up, it does seem like points are going up as well. It looks like this is the 30 points per game line. So anybody above this was scoring over 30 points per game. We only see two there. We've got Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has scored the most points, but yet he played almost the most games. I don't know who this one is, but has almost played the most games. All right, so a few vocab terms here. In this display, what we are doing is we are using games played to describe or predict how many points should be scored. And depending on whether we are talking about sciences or the social sciences, we have a few different names for these. So first off, first way that you could describe this would be the explanatory variable. Or another way that you could describe this is the independent variable. All right, so this is the explanatory or the independent variable. We are simply looking at how many games total did these people play. All right, and then finally the number of NBA points scored. This is the response variable or the dependent variable. All right, the response variable and the dependent variable. And in statistics, what we are going to be doing is when we are creating our scatter plot, our explanatory variable our independent variable is going to go on our x-axis. And then finally, our response variable or our dependent variable is going to go on the y-axis. So quick recap, here's what we've got. First off, intro to two variable statistics. Instead of just analyzing one, we're going to go ahead and talk about how are they related. We typically use an independent or an explanatory variable to predict what is going to happen with a dependent or response variable. And finally, the type of plots that we're going to start off by looking at are scatter plots. No more histograms or dot plots. We are looking at scatter plots. And please do not connect the dots. This is not a connect the dot. This is a scatter plot.